Hey gamers, it's G from the corner, and today we are going to be checking out Super Mario RPG, recently released on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I'm a fan of the Mario RPGs. I grew up on some of the Mario Luigis, some of the Paper Marios, but they've kind of been in a weird place for the last little while. The company that made the Mario and Luigi games has recently gone bankrupt, and there hasn't been a new game in that series since 2019, and Paper Mario has been a weird up, down, oh hey, we're not allowed to do this stuff, we gotta make the game bland, we can barely make it an RPG sort of deal. And you know, there's also been the Rabbids games, I suppose. But now it seems like things are finally looking up. We're getting full remakes of the first Mario RPG and Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door, that seem to get rid of none of the original characters and are keeping the games just as weird and quirky and off-brand as they always were. So I'm pretty cautiously optimistic for the future of Mario RPGs, whether we get a brand new type of Mario RPG with a unique sort of edge, or we just get good Paper Marios again. I'm happy. I'm excited and happy. But you know, let's talk with the first of these seemingly new endeavors to fix Mario RPGs, the remake of Super Mario RPG. I first played the original game about 5 or so years ago. Never beat it, but I enjoyed it a decent amount. I think I got stuck on the booster tower, if I can recall. I think it was the clown fight. I forget what their names are already, but the two clowns, I think I got stuck on that fight back when I first played the game. So yeah, I was pretty excited to see this game get remade. I know it's got a very big fan base, and I was willing to give it another shot. So, does it hold up? Did it live up to my expectations, and did I enjoy it? The plot of this game is kind of Mario RPG standard, you know, the usual Mario plot. Bowser kidnaps Peach is about to happen, but then something interrupts it, and now there's all these new characters, and there's a new plot, and all this crazy stuff going on. That's the thing, each area kind of has its own characters and little storyline for you to get through. You know, you start the game near the Mushroom Kingdom, then you end up in this forest where there's a weapon in the forest trying to, like, turning everybody into statues by shooting arrows at them. Each area kind of does a similar thing, and the plots are quirky and fun. It's enough to get me through, honestly. The character designs are all very interesting and funny looking. I love how some of the Toads in this game will just have, like, normal hair underneath their hat. Like, it's so weird and off-brand, because, I mean, this was from, like, what, the early mid-90s, so they hadn't really finalized a lot of these designs, so it's like, hey, we're gonna have a bunch of Toad civilians, okay, they're all gonna look different and have, like, hair and hats and weird, like, and they look really weird. I love it. And in the remake, we get to see all of these characters, these weird off-brand characters, in a very, very high quality, so that really kind of adds to things, just the level of presentation here, but yet how off-brand and quirky all this stuff is. It just feels really... It feels really grandiose. It feels like just so fresh and new, honestly. I love it, though. And when it comes to original characters in Super Mario RPG, I think I can't even begin to talk about the game without bringing up Mallow and Geno, 2 of your 5 party members who are with you the whole game, who are just brand new dudes. Mallow's this guy who thinks he's a frog, and there's a bunch of plot developments that happen with him, and Geno is the #1 Smash pick 20 years in a row that after playing this game, I mean, I'm having the same thought that I see everybody say on Twitter. I don't get it. He's just like a cool character, which, I mean, I get that. I guess he's a cool character. That's why people wanted him, but, like, he didn't really deserve to be in over anyone else. Like, I don't really see him as that important of a character. He just was, like, kind of cool in one Mario spinoff. Like, whatever. Weird. But I think they're both great additions to this game. And they're both, it's just fun. Because you actually get the original characters on your party before Peach and Bowser, the other two recognizable mainstays. So it's like you kind of have to spend a bit of time with these new characters first, and then it's like, okay, here's the classics. Here's our version of Bowser and our version of Peach. Because they don't act like how they do in the mainline games. Peach is very funny, and Bowser he's very nice in this game. Like, he's got his, like, sort of comedic edge that he does in the later Mario RPGs, but he's really nice. Later in the game, you find out that a few of his minions ran off on him, but they went to go do their own thing at this town for monsters, I guess, called Monstro Town. And Bowser, each time he runs into them, he's like, oh, you know, I'm happy for you. Go live your life. It's like, damn, what is this? Why is he so nice? I don't know. I love the guy in this game. He's perfect in all the Mario RPGs, and I'm glad that people get to see this side of him now, because he's been kind of locked away in, like, the later Paper Marios, and even the last Mario. Actually, I think he was still pretty funny in Paper Jam. Whatever. It's been kind of locked away, and I'm glad to see it again. The gameplay of this game is what would basically become the norm in Mario RPGs following it. There are action inputs when you are in combat. There is equipable gear that'll boost your stats, and there are level ups where you can select a bonus stat to level up alongside everything else. I'm actually not too big of a fan of the action input system in this game. It's not like the Mario and Luigi's where you do an attack and you know, like it's the moment you make impact, and there's going to be there's physics to it, you know, everything feels good, right? Like you can time things perfectly in that game all the time. In this game, it's a bit more loose. They kind of try and trick you with some of them too. Take Geno, for instance. His main attacks always end up with him shooting something out of his hand, but when you use it for the first time, he always has like a different animation. Like, one of them is his hand turns into a gun, and then he shoots. That's what you're supposed to press. Then another one, he positions his hands as if they're supposed to turn into guns, and you press too early, but then he unfolds his palms, and, like, bullets come out of them, and it's like, bro, what the hell? Like, they trick you. They trick you a little bit, honestly, especially with some of the special moves and other items. Like, I didn't know this, but every single move has an action input, even in the original, and I'm like, bro, some of these are so confusing. A lot of them, there's a lot of moves in the game that are like, let's cause a rainstorm, let's cause a health storm or something. And you're supposed to press it right before it ends. And it's like, what? There's one move where you're supposed to press it the second it hits the ground, even though it literally just flashes on screen when it hits the ground. There's another move where you're supposed to press it right before it comes out of the ground. Like, I'm going to be honest, the timing is, you know, once you get the timing down, it's fine. But I also found that special moves never really did too much damage. They were only ever good for, like, screen clearing ones. Even stuff that was like, that I think would be really useful, like Mario's super jump, which allows you to jump infinitely as long as you keep timing the A button perfectly. No, that still didn't really do much, honestly. The game was pretty easy though. It's not like I was struggling through it because of all this. I like the system still. I even had fun with it sometimes, trying to figure out like what exactly I'm supposed to do these special timings properly, but I don't know, it was a bit finicky. It was a bit finicky for my liking, which I get because it was the first game in the Mario RPG series. I had this exact same problem when I played the game 5 years ago, but I don't know, I would have liked some... I mean, they do have a fix. They have like an exclamation mark thing that shows up like when you're supposed to press it, but I don't know, I always forget it's there, and then sometimes it isn't there. Like, you do it right a few times, and then it'll just not show up, and it's like some fans don't want those on screen because they want the challenge of having to figure it out. And then some people like me would want it on screen like all the time, but there's no option for that. It's kind of weird. The only other remote complaint I could have about this game is that it is pretty short. I actually got through the whole thing in like 2-3 days. I was very surprised about that. I was expecting this to take a little bit longer at least. But that's not really that big of a deal, honestly. Having a short RPG like this only makes you want to go back and replay it. And yeah, I do want to go back and replay it. The game was pretty easy. It didn't require me to grind much, which for me is a plus, honestly. I thought the game had a pretty good amount of challenge. I might have kind of cheesed my way through the end because I got this item that boosts defense like crazy. Gave it to Peach, and lo and behold, I had a healer who would only ever take 1 damage to every single attack in the game. So I could just, you know, keep existing forever. It was a bit ridiculous, honestly, but hey, whatever. You know, if it works, it works. And it allowed for me to have more fun with the game than I would have otherwise, so that's cool. That's cool. But you know, this is the Mario RPG remake. This game has been remade from the ground up, and oh my god, it is gorgeous. They have taken basically the exact layout, the exact perspective of this original sprite-based game, and have converted everything into just gorgeous, stunning 3D. You know, areas would originally kind of just be flat grassland textures, plains for you to walk around, and outside of the maps, it would just be blue nothingness, but now they've added actual backgrounds to the areas. Yes, Rose Town is in a forest. Mary Moore is on the top of a hill. Like, these changes finally allow me to perceive where these locations actually are in the game, and it's really, really great. The characters all look amazing, too. They look just like how they did on the SNES, but fully remade. You know, it's great seeing some of the funnier characters like Big Fat Yoshi sitting there in full 3D. Just some of the everybody's got their own little animations now. It's great. The game looks so phenomenal. There's even these fully pre-rendered cutscenes that will play at pivotal moments in the story, and for super moves, I should have mentioned that in the gameplay, they added a new super move, whatever. It's neat. It does the job. It's not like that big of a game changer, at least for me, although it did kind of make me want to rearrange my party a bit to suit the situation. But yeah, no, the visuals are honestly incredible, and oh man, the score, holy cow, the soundtrack. Okay, so Mario RPG's original soundtrack, done by Yoko Shinomura, the GOAT, was already my favorite Mario RPG soundtrack. I think the only one that would come close would be like Bowser's Inside Story and Superstar Saga. Like, the soundtrack in that original, almost every single song is so catchy. And oh man, they brought out the full orchestra for this one. Like, every song in this game is just done up like crazy. Beware the Forest Mushrooms, Battle Against Smithy, Rose Town, like all these all just sound so good. Like, some songs literally have a second loop with different instrumentation now. Some songs just feel so full. You know, some songs go down instrumental routes I didn't think they would go down. Like, everything just sounds so good. This is my favorite soundtrack of the year by a landslide, even though, yes, it is the original soundtrack. There's no new tracks in here. It's just a full or remix of the old soundtrack. But oh, it's so good. There's also tons of little additions to the game. I mentioned the triple move earlier, but also new to the combat is that now you can switch out your party members. Like, it kind of acts like a Pokemon game, if anything. You can have 3 out at a time, but if one of them dies, you can swap them out with another one. I swear, this was not a feature in the original. Everybody also gets EXP at the same time, so you're using the whole party all the time. I do not think this was how the original played. I'm like 99% sure that is not how the original played, because if it did, that's very forward thinking of Square. Very forward thinking of them. But yeah, there's also tons of little additions beyond that. There is a big post-game side quest that involves you refighting a bunch of the bosses. I think that's really cool. I tried a few of them and they're pretty hard, so I kind of have to grind maybe to actually get to them. But yeah, no, honestly, very, there's bang for your buck here. It's not like it's a game that'll take you 5 minutes. Like, I may have beaten it in 3 days, but there's still so much to go back and do that I'm probably going to go back and do over the course of time. Probably not going to spend like hours and hours doing it right now. But yeah, overall, this was a great time, honestly. I was very excited for this remake, and it met the expectations. It was nice to have a new Mario RPG to play that really felt like the old ones that I grew up on. I grew up on like Bowser's Inside Story, and I played a bit of Super Paper Mario, but it was nice to just have a game like that out in the modern era again, and it was super fun. I really loved seeing every little thing of the game. I played the game before, and I thought I knew everything about the game, but I actually didn't. There were some elements to the progression and some things that happened that I was like, oh, that's how the plot turns out. That's pretty fun. You know, there's very fun. It's a great game. And honestly, this might be a bit of a bold statement, but I think it's the only Mario RPG that really would convince you to play another RPG. Honestly, playing this game, it's like, damn, you know, I haven't played many RPGs lately. Granted, I don't play many in general, but, you know, I'm used to just a Pokemon game every year, but those haven't really been feeling like Pokemon games in a while. So it's like, you know what? I think it's finally time I go and play some other ones. Like, this game's got me thinking. I'm like, man, I kind of want to play the original Final Fantasy VII. I kind of want to play Live Alive. Like, there's just some games on my backlog that I would like, you know, I want to get around to those. And I don't know why this game gave me the kick in the pants. It was such a short RPG too, you know, maybe a bit of a meatier one would be fun. But yeah, no, honestly, that's the thing, because the Mario RPGs always kind of end up being their own bubble. You'll hear a bunch of Nintendo fans online complain about anime RPGs and shit in Nintendo Directs. But then when a Mario RPG will show up, they'll pop off. They'll be like, it's the best thing ever. There's such a dichotomy in the audience, but I think Mario RPG is the only one that would ever truly get people to break that dichotomy. I don't know, there's just something about it that feels different. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today's review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Very high recommendation, this game right here. And I will see you guys on the next one. So be sure to like, subscribe, leave comments if you have any thoughts, and keep yourselves cornered for some more content coming up very soon. See you guys.